I the hardest walker on earth, or is this not insane?
Meet my $1,000 Christian Louboutin and have yet to wear them on a night out because they are near impossible to walk in.
When the news broke yesterday that Jaden Smith was made the first ever men's creative director at Louboutin, my initial reaction was like everybody else. What the fudge?
Christian Louboutin, a name synonymous with luxury glamour and those iconic red soles, but behind the glitz, the brand is facing some serious challenges with profit slipping and market pressures mounting. Now, in a surprise move, they've appointed 27-year-old Jaden Smith as their creative director for men's fashion. Could his fresh energy and bold vision be exactly what Louboutin needs to bounce back and capture the next generation of luxury lovers? Hi babes, my name's Taja, mother of twins, lover of luxe things, and your guide for showing up with style and intention. Christian Louboutin appointed Jaden Smith as the brand's first ever men's creative director, marking a significant shift in the luxury footwear house's approach to its men's line. At 27, Smith will oversee the creation of 4 annual collections encompassing men's shoes, leather goods, accessories, and related campaigns, events, and immersive experiences. His debut collection is set to be unveiled during Paris Men's Fashion Week in January 2026, with the collection becoming available in stores in May 2026. This appointment is a result of a 6-year friendship between Smith and Christian Louboutin, initiated by a chance meet in Paris. Louboutin expressed that Smith was the only candidate considered for the role, highlighting their shared vision of creative synergy. Smith's appointment has been seen as a strategic move to rejuvenate the men's segment, which currently represents 24% of the company's business but has been experiencing declines. His substantial social media following and cultural influence are expected to bring increased visibility and relevance to the brand's men's offering. Smith's role will allow Louboutin to focus on expanding the women's line, while Smith aims to honor the brand's legacy and inject fresh energy into its men's collection. He emphasized the opportunity to explore, learn, and create freely with the brand, viewing the position as a creative home rather than just a title. This appointment has been met with mixed reactions. Some people feel that this is just nepotism in action, that, there are loads of people who have loads of experience and a real love for fashion and creativity and struggle to find even entry-level jobs.
Jaden Smith just got the job you went to fashion school for. And what a lot of people think is nepotism skipping the line. So when a celebrity is appointed, it's less about them single-handedly designing. It's more about bringing visibility to the brand. This is where the true frustration comes in. People go into debt for fashion school, spend years interning, freelancing, chasing unpaid opportunities just for a chance to work in one of these houses. And then you see actual leadership going to a celebrity's kid. It does mean the industry is sending a message. Visibility is valued more than experience.
And then here's Jaden Smith, who has, of course, benefited from the positioning of his family. Appointing Jaden Smith as creative director automatically brings attention to your brand. I maybe controversially think this is actually a nice match, and I'm not actually bothered by the fact that he probably would have never been considered for this role if he was not the son of Will and Jada Smith. Of course, I can understand the arguments that it's not fair.
When the news broke yesterday that Jaden Smith was made the first ever men's creative director at Louboutin, my initial reaction was like everybody else. What the fudge? What does this guy know about craftsmanship? Yet another role taken by a celeb over someone who has grafted their way in the industry. Every student who has worked hard was leaving comments all over social media.
Unfortunately, life's not fair, and in some ways this is part of the business game. I'm sure we all know somebody who's in a role that they maybe don't have much experience in, or maybe were hired because their parents knew the cousin of someone who was the CEO or the owner and they were able to put them in a job. It is objectively not fair, and in the ideal world everybody would have equal access and equal opportunity and be appointed to roles based on their experience and their competency. However, we don't live in that world, and I particularly actually enjoy seeing Black children benefit from the opportunities and access that other people have been experiencing for centuries at this point. So I'm not bothered by his appointment. I actually think they're a nice match.
Calling Jaden Smith's appointment at Louboutin nepotism is honestly lazy. Because fashion houses don't pick creative directors based on fairness, they pick it based on business strategy. What people are actually mad at is advantage. Jaden has cultural capital, visibility, and access, and yeah, all those things are advantages. And let's be honest, if most people had those too, they'd be using them to their advantage also. Like, that's just smart. And it's operating in the world in which fashion actually exists. The industry rewards different kinds of capital and value. Sometimes that's design skills, sometimes that's cultural influence, sometimes it's both. There's this great creator named Ella Devi who talks about the realities of working in fashion, and she talks about how followers and clout will get you just as far or farther as someone with legit technical skills. And I personally know amazing designers who are on the studio design team, but the reality is that a lot of them will not become creative directors because that job requires much more than being able to sketch or drape a dress. So instead of saying Jaden's appointment is a slap in the face to design students, maybe we should be preparing design students for the ecosystem that actually exists if they want these big jobs.
I do know that this creative director role for menswear did not exist at all. So it seems that Christian Louboutin clearly really likes Jaden. I can definitely see how having him in this position could help to rejuvenate the brand. I think that Louboutin once upon a time was the issue, and it's definitely past that peak, and having Jaden in that position, especially for menswear, will actually work out quite well. I think in this case the proof will definitely be in the pudding. We'll see in 2026 what he's able to come up with and whether that resonates with customers. We'll come back in 2026 with a review, but I'm gonna bet that it does really well. I can understand why Christian Louboutin was keen on having him in that position. And although the brand hasn't been doing awfully in the last few years, they have been experiencing a decline in sales in recent times. In the year ending 2023, in the UK, they experienced a 15% decline in sales, totaling 45.2 million. This downturn resulted in a pre-tax loss of around £237,000, a significant shift from the 1.2 million profit in the previous year. Some key changes have been affecting the brand, which include Brexit and the loss of tax-free shopping for tourists, inflation and competition. I think there's also been a slight shift in consumer perception about the brand as well. At this point, social media seems to be the biggest thorn in the side for luxury brands, and there have been quite a few viral videos around Louboutin and the quality of their shoes, especially how their shoes wear and tear.
I just left the Louboutin store and I am not a very happy camper right now. So I went to my cobbler, right? Showed him the shoes. He goes, "This isn't normal." And I'm like, "I know." And he goes, "Do your other shoes do this?" And I'm like, "No, they don't." He's like, "Honestly, I could fix this for you, but what I think you should do is go down to Christian Louboutin and have them fix them." I just left the Louboutin store and I am not a very happy camper right now. So I went to my cobbler, right? Showed him the shoes. He goes, "This isn't normal." And I'm like, "I know." And he goes, "Do your other shoes do this?" And I'm like, "No, they don't." He's like, "Honestly, I could fix this for you, but what I think you should do is go down to Christian Louboutin and have them fix them." The woman I spoke to was super nice. She explained a few things to me, a few things that I did not understand when I was buying these shoes, and I'm a little frustrated by that because if it is a necessary thing that you put their rubber sole on them and this like metal thing on the point, and it's necessary, it's not, you don't have an option. It's not like up to you. You need to do this. Why was that not made so crystal clear when I was buying the shoes? And also, why didn't they come with that already on it? For this price, there's gonna be water on the streets sometimes. Like, are you telling me that I can never exit the house if there's a drop of water on the floor ever again? Like, this is kind of insane.
The fact that you have to be a special kind of person to be able to walk properly in some of their most popular shoes.
Meet my $1,000 Christian Louboutin heels that I begged my husband to buy for me for Christmas 3 years ago, and have yet to wear them on a night out because they are near impossible to walk in. It already don't feel right. All right, first walk. Shit, how do people do this?
Although I'd be happy to argue with anybody about how beautiful Christian Louboutins are, I think that they have some very beautiful classic styles. The brand's perception has definitely shifted. I'm sure if you were to have a conversation with the general public about Christian Louboutins in 2000, the conversation would be much different to the conversation that people are having now about the brand. Their strength is, of course, the red sole. I remember a time where even in styling videos, if you maybe wanted to look more affluent or maybe luxurious, you would always have on a pair of Christian Louboutins. I just don't think the red sole has the same impact as it once did. The brand does still have strong global recognition though. I do think that even people who are not customers of the brand have an awareness of who the brand is and what they do. And they do still have quite a few celebrity endorsements. Zendaya and Ahsoka go together like real bad. So there are still quite a few celebrity that wear Christian Louboutins quite regularly. However, they are facing some challenges, and these include counterfeit product. The brand has really struggled to trademark their red sole. I think for those people who are interested in luxury fashion, in particular luxury shoes, it is quite easy to identify a counterfeit Louboutin because they have quite notable styles, and even the shade of red that they use is quite particular. So anything slightly off that, you're probably going to know it's a counterfeit good. However, there are still counterfeits everywhere. Certain that the issues that people have been discussing around the quality and the durability of their shoes has really ramped up some of the interest in counterfeit shoes.
Am I the hardest walker on earth, or is this not insane? These are my most comfortable pair of lubes, right? So cute, so chic, goes with a lot of things, right? Yet every time I wear these out, this happens.
Nowadays, we have super fakes. I am certain that you are probably able to pick up a pair of shoes that look very similar to a pair of Christian Louboutins and have a very realistic looking red sole and cost a fraction of the price. I am hoping at some point the luxury brands get it, but if they continue to produce products that have questionable quality and continue to raise their prices, they will continue to lose the interest of their customers. And so unsurprisingly, Christian Louboutin has also been getting themselves in loads of legal battles around their trademark. In 2012, they sued Dutch retailer Van Haren for selling high-heeled shoes with red soles, arguing that it infringed on their trademark. Van Haren contended that the red sole was merely a shape and not eligible for trademark under EU law. The European Court of Justice ruled in favour of Louboutin, stating that the red sole did not relate to a specific shape, but to the application of a colour to a part of the sole, thereby qualifying for trademark protection. And more recently, in 2022, Louboutin won a legal battle in China against a local shoe manufacturer accused of producing counterfeit red-soled shoes. The court recognized the red sole as a distinctive feature associated with Louboutin and upheld the brand's trademark rights under China's anti-unfair competition law. However, despite successes in various jurisdictions, Louboutin has faced challenges in securing trademark protection for its red sole in certain markets. For instance, in Japan, the brand's attempt to register the red sole as a trademark was unsuccessful, highlighting the complexities of international trademark law and the varying standards across different countries. It seems the brand has a commitment to safeguarding its intellectual property, as protecting the red sole trademark is crucial for them. However, as it gets easier and easier to produce counterfeits, and the societal perceptions around wearing counterfeits changes, people aren't as bothered nowadays by someone wearing a fake or someone buying a fake. We are definitely seeing a shift in values around that, and it's absolutely self-inflicted by these brands. If I'm a lover of Christian Louboutin and I cannot be assured that spending a bit of extra money picking up a pair of shoes from them will guarantee me at least a certain standard of quality, or if I can't be convinced that I'm going to go in store and have a decent experience, I'm going to enjoy picking up these shoes, I'm going to take them home, I'm going to wear them, I'm not going to have any issues with quality, my red sole is at least going to stay on for a few wears, I'm not going to have to buy them from the store and then wear them and then take them to a cobbler, because when I go back to the store with concerns, I'm kind of shooed away. If I can't guarantee all of these things, what incentive do I have to buy directly from the brand? And for some, it could just be morals, in that they're just unwilling to buy fakes. But for some other people, the reasoning for not buying fakes was that they, for the most part, looked fake. Because we're entering an era where technology has advanced so much, we even saw with the China luxury scandal that a lot of energy and work, and sometimes even talent, is also put into making counterfeits. And so I am, of course, not here to tell you whether to buy counterfeits or not. It's not something that I do. However, I can understand why some people do. Christian Louboutin have also been receiving consumer feedback about their rising prices and concerns about the quality of new designs. Some customers feel that their brand's pricing has become disconnected from the perceived value, with reports of quality issues in certain models. And although Christian Louboutin's women's footwear division continues to be a cornerstone in the brand's identity, it is facing evolving market dynamics. In 2025, Louboutin led the designer heel market with approximately 4.6 billion in sales, outperforming competitors like Prada and Fendi. And women's footwear remains the brand's largest revenue segment, accounting for 52% of its total sales in 2022. There does still seem to be an interest in the brand, in particular in its women's wear, although there has been a notable shift towards comfort-driven footwear, with sales of high heels over 4 inches declining significantly. And so at the moment, it doesn't look all bad for Christian Louboutin. I think that there is still a position for them in luxury women's footwear. However, some rejuvenation to their brand and maybe even a review of their quality and their pricing strategy is needed. And I think Jaden Smith's appointment may in fact help to push them a little bit in that direction. So it will be interesting to see what the outcome is and whether his effect is only felt on menswear or whether there'll be a trickle down effect into women's wear too. So what do you think of this appointment? How do you feel about Christian Louboutin as a brand? Are you still interested in the brand? Do you own any of their shoes? Do let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.